I'm going to let go of that aspect. By the end of this video, you will learn 3 things on letting go, why to let go, and fundamentally why is it one of the most important skills to have. So what is letting go? Letting go is letting yourself go. So I've been on a journey these past 6 months on letting go. I was laid off in November, and in around that time I took the plunge and started moving towards my own business and my own career path as opposed to a 9 to 5. Hoof! Coming out of the rat race, people, and going through that experience, I ended up letting go of a lot of things. A lot of things. I let go of people, I let go of apartments, I let go of furniture, I let go of ultimately myself. Because, and I believe it was Sun Tzu that said this, if I am willing to let go of who I am, I might become who I want to be. And so, thus began this journey, and incredible journey it was. So, one of the things that I want to do today is I just want to riff on this. I want to riff on letting go. The 3 things that I want to mention here on letting go and the traits required, yes, required to let go are self-acceptance, trust, and ego decentering. So I'll cover more about these in detail in a moment. Oof, that Colombia coffee. That Colombia coffee hits. It hits. Woo! So, wow. Self-acceptance, trust, ego decentering. Self-acceptance. I started this journey when it was February, early Feb. I went to Chris Do's workshop. If you don't know who Chris Do is, he is one of an amazing internet personality, influencer. He has a design company, all that good stuff at the upper echelons of design world. And he did a workshop on personal branding, and in that workshop I overcame a huge part of me that I was holding back, and it had to do with my height, and I publicly accepted myself. Once I went through that journey, I realized that self-acceptance is key. True self-acceptance in order to let go, in order to move forward. And if I didn't accept it myself first, I wouldn't have been able to publicly accept it, if you know what I mean. So I knew I accepted my height by myself a long time ago, and I just had to do it publicly. The second piece I want to talk about here is trust. In coming up with these 3, I was like trying to see which one mattered the most. All in all, they're all super important, but trust is the cornerstone. Trust is the make or break. If you can't get the other 2, get trust. Without trust, the whole tower collapses. If you're building a Jenga piece, the Jenga piece that the moment you take out, no matter how stable the structure is, it'll crumble down. That piece is trust. What kind of trust am I talking about? So it's trust inwards and outwards. In that, when I can trust myself to do what is best for me all the time, I can trust outwardly as well. I can trust other people as well. Like going back to that workshop, if I didn't have this sense of trust within myself to give to Chris to walk me through this public self-acceptance journey that I was there with on that workshop, I wouldn't have overcome that piece. Because I did trust him. At some point in that workshop, I trusted him to help me with this public self-acceptance. And I'll fast forward to March, where I went to Vipassana meditation. It's a 10-day retreat, and it is a retreat. It's a retreat from society, from civilization. No phones allowed, no talking allowed. Yes, you can't talk to people in those 10 days. It is literally solitude. Yes, you're with around other people, but you can't talk to them. The only people I was allowed to talk to was the teacher, the assistant teacher, and the manager, right? So anything housing and accommodation related. And that's about it. And that over there as well. One of the key things they talk about when you first start is surrendering. Is surrendering. Surrendering and trust go hand in hand, I would say. So they're like, hey, surrender to this process to learn the most from it. Surrender to this process to learn the most from it. And I did. I was able to. Why? Ding, ding, ding. Because I trusted myself. Because I will admit, there's this thing of like when you kind of go towards like religious organizations or social organizations for that matter too. There's, depending upon how big it is and how in tune everyone is, it could be culty. And this gave me that sense. I did get a sense of like, oh, there's a little bit of like culty-ishness going on. But I trusted myself enough that even if this was a cult and I got into it, I would somehow come out at some point. So I trusted myself with that. And so I surrendered. I had the 10-day experience, and it was profound. It was profound. I first experienced what enlightenment felt like during those 10 days. I had it like briefly when I was like sipping on tea during a tea break. And I wouldn't have had that. I wouldn't have had that if I didn't surrender, if I didn't trust myself. So trust, huge, huge. And then number 3 is ego decentering. So what I mean by this? I mean that our egos will give us a wonderful story of why to hold on. And we have to be able to have a conversation with our ego and say, hey, this is okay, I see you, I hear you, but it's time to let go. And it's really important to have that conversation because our ego will really give a very compelling reason to hold on. But holding on will not get us to grow. It will not get us to evolve. It's just the nature of reality. And I'll give an example here. So I moved into a new place. After about 4 months of hopping around. I went to different Airbnbs, I subletted different places, and I finally got my own place 4 months later. This was the process of letting go as well, believe it or not. I didn't know why I was doing this. I let go, and I ended up letting go of this notion that stability is within a house. Don't get me wrong, it's amazing to have a house. It's amazing to have that stability that I know where I'm going to live. But I was able to come out of that notion that I needed an apartment, a house for like a year to feel safe. Anywho, I digress. So I'll give you this example. So I moved into this new place. I have the suitcase. I have a photo of it. I'll put it up around here. This suitcase, when you see it, it looks brand spanking new. But guess how old it is? No, you guessed wrong. It's not 2 years old. It is 13 years old. 13 years. Over a decade. I know. Wow. I had a plastic bag, like a plastic cover. So when I took that plastic cover out, wow, it looked new. But I knew it was time to let go. It was time to let go of that suitcase, even though that is where the journey of journeys began. My adventures began with that suitcase. My parents picked it out for me. It was a set of 3, and I gave 2 of them away. I put it up on Facebook Marketplace, and I sold it to the next traveler. He told me he's going to London, so I was like, oh, it'll bring you a lot of good luck. So anyway, in this me trying to sell it, I was coming up with reasons left, right, and center of why I needed to hold on to it. I was like, oh, this is so new, it looks so good, I took out the plastic, it looks so good, I can use it as storage, yada 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 yada. And it was really compelling, but I knew it was time to let go. Because it is only by letting go of the old that we can make space for the new. In these 6 months of decluttering, of making space, I have realized that there is such a thing as energetic space. That we, just like our physical spaces, we can shove things all over the place until it's full. Energetically also works the same way. So, here's what I'll leave you with, right? So there's three skills, essentially, three sub-skills on letting go, which is self-acceptance, trust, ego decentering, and why. Why is this so important? Letting go is a fundamental skill to hone in on for personal evolution. Let me say that again. Letting go is one of the most fundamental skills to hone in on for personal evolution. In order for you to grow as a human being, as a spirit, as a consciousness, evolution, your growth is key. The universe keeps growing, you're a facet of it. You have this innate desire and need to grow as well. And the only way to do that is by learning the skill of letting go properly. Hey, awesome. If you enjoyed that, click the like button, follow for more. I would greatly appreciate it. And you can also find me on TikTok, on Insta. And this is really for people that want to gain wisdom on what it means to live a meaningful life. If that sounds interesting to you, click the subscribe button. And with that, stay blessed.